Hey guys, Sid here. Welcome to this special video where I'm going to be walking you through the principles on how to build a community that can create an exponential impact in this world. And it's a very, very important video because now as we're moving into a different form of an economy right now where the future is all about content and community, if you're just somebody who's just looking at every single customer of yours as just as a number, you're not going to have a long-term effect in your game. Okay, so in this particular video, I'm going to jump into a lot of very powerful principles and concepts. I've studied various religious movements, I've studied political movements, and I've put together this entire training where I'll be talking to you about this. Okay, so how to build a community that can create that creates an exponential impact. It is not just about you selling your products or selling your services and making your ends meet. Okay. And here in today's, in this particular video, I'm going to share with you three important principles about community building. I've been able to build my community of my core community of over 7,000 members. Overall community at this point is over 30,000 members. Of course, my email list goes to around close to 2 lakh people on my list right now. So I'm going to actually walk you through the 6 stages of how you need to build a community. There's a science behind this. Okay, and if you're eager to learn, I want you to type in the comment box eager to learn, because this is something which if you're able to get and implement, the way that you can have an impact in this world will be unimaginable. Okay, then I'm going to share with you the 3 important lessons that I learned as I was building my community from 100 to 200 to 500 to 1000 to like 2000, 3000, and at each of the stages there were like different sets of challenges that I had to go through and different sets of learnings that I had. So I will cover that towards the end, and of course towards the end I'm going to be offering you a link for you to join my tribe if you're serious about getting started with me. Okay, so the topic is again today how to build a community that creates an exponential impact. My first question to you here before we even get started is why do you think it is important to build communities versus just selling products? I want to read some comments. Yeah, if you're watching a recording of this, I may not be able to read it, but I'm able to see some comments that are coming in here. I can see Elizabeth, I can see Ashwini, Rajesh, Sriram, Aditya, Minisha. I can see all of you, commenting over here. Just type in the comment box, according to you, what do you think is the importance of building communities versus just selling products? Okay. Yes, one is exponential growth. Okay, you can have exponential growth because you are actually building a loyal tribe who'll promote you later. Okay, I want to say hi to Giant who's just come in right now. Yeah, tell me, what do you think is the advantage of building communities versus selling products? Yeah, the collaboration can be huge. The potential is endless. Yeah, and from what I have seen, like I know many answers are coming in right now. You can also type in the comment box. Yeah. Yes, like Ashwini has just mentioned this. The way that you can connect with your customers is much more deeper. It is not as simple as just, you're not looking at them as just as a number. Yeah. And you can also grow with them, they grow with you. And even in the future, when you have a lifelong relationship with your customers, like whatever you have to offer them later, they're going to be buying your products. And forget about the buying part. It's you are going to be there to serve them long term. You're going to be there to support them. So the whole approach is very different from the typical, business transactional mindset. It is more of a relationship mindset. Yeah, it's long-term customer retention, it's crowdsource power, and you get customer loyalty. Absolutely, yes. Nandakumar is there, I can see that. Yeah. So now I'm going to share with you 3 important concepts before we dive into the actual principles over here. And please take a lot of notes, okay? So the first thing is I want you to understand that customers are people. They're not numbers. And even if you look at your email list, don't look at the list as a number. I have 10,000 people. I have 10,000 leads in my email list. My email list is 10,000. No, 10,000 are people on the other side. And every time you send a message, somebody is going to be impacted in some way. Whether they open that message or not is a secondary point. But the point is you need to look at your list as a person on the other side. It's not a thing. Okay. So keep that in mind. Same thing with customers. They're people. And the second thing I want you to keep in mind is that, I see a lot of people doing this even in the coaching training industries, like wanting to be number one is a cliche. I mean, you are not the spotlight of this, especially in a model like this. I'm the number one, coach in this, in India, in whatever. They put, I'm the number one this, I'm number one that. Anyone who puts number one in front of their name itself shows that they don't have the intention to really build communities. Why? Because they want to be number one. Like they're playing the competition game, the zero-sum game. Like there's only room for one person on the top. That's so not true. How many of you are with me on this? Just type with you in the comment box. I want to set the foundation here, because if you want to build communities, you cannot proclaim and say you're number one. That's total bullshit. If you ask me, you can say you're one of the leading experts in your space, but you cannot say you're number one. I mean, because yes, you may be, but when you project your image like that, you're already playing the game of competition. You're not playing the game of collaboration. You don't care about customers. You don't care about people. You care about you winning. Please keep this in mind. Everything suggests something. My mentor Blair Singer says that. Everything suggests something. Every message that you put out there, it suggests something. It may not be what is visibly heard or seen, but there is something big under that. And whenever I look at people who put those into their tags and titles saying that I'm the number one this, I'm the number one that, I know for a fact that they have not had recognition during their childhood days. They have been put through different situations where they felt not worthy enough. And that's why they are putting a title later on saying that I am number one. They want to prove that they are worthy, but actually the reason why they want to be worthy, I mean, it goes back to something else. Okay, there's a deeper thing to this. Okay, and the third principle I want to tell you is that people do not care about how much you know until I put ... there, until they know how much you care for them. People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care for them. Okay, it's a beautiful quote, I think by some president in the United States many years back. Okay, if you're able to get these three concepts, these three principles, then the way that you build the community will be completely different. It's like your roots will determine your fruits. You cannot plant like a banyan tree seed and expect mangoes to grow. Okay, you cannot plant an apple seed and expect oranges to grow. Seeds matter a lot, and what I've shared with you are the three seeds to building true impactful communities. You are not the spotlight. You are not the hero. Your customer is the hero of your story. If you're able to shift that spotlight, yes, you'll automatically, the visibility will be there and they will start to look up to you as a hero. That's a different matter. But then as an individual, as a personality, you cannot radiate that energy, or you cannot afford to radiate the energy that I am better than you. Because true influence only happens when you don't judge people, where you respect everyone in whatever journey that they are. When you don't look at somebody higher than you, when you don't look at somebody lower than you, when you don't just judge people, that's where the rapport happens. And that's the seed or the starting point to building communities. Does this make sense? Just type powerful in the comment box, because these are some powerful principles that I'm not sure many people talk about these things, but I believe it is one of the most important things. The roots only creates the fruits. Your intention is everything. The intention with which you start your business will determine what your business is going to become in the future. So it's all, the smallest things make a big difference. Okay. So now I'm going to share with you the 6 stages of creating a movement, or the 6 stages on how a community is built and taken to a level where you can really empower. And now I'm actually seeing this happen in my case. So I'll just give you like a quick background. Around 20 months back, I started to build my community. Okay, 20 months back. Before that, I was just running my own business, doing the regular thing like anybody else. Traditional business, getting customers, getting clients and stuff. And something hit me, and I decided to shift the whole approach into just let me serve people, let me help people get results. So it grew to in my first month, around 150 people came to the community, like actual paid members who came in. Then it became 300, then became 400, then became 500. And I was noticing a lot of changes happening in me. Because now when I have the responsibility of so many people who are coming in, where I'm nurturing them on a weekly basis, rather than me just being like a knowledge giver or a teacher, I started to become a better learner. Yeah, how many of you agree with me that teaching is the best way to learn? Yes? just type bang on in the comment box. Teaching is the best way to learn. And so my whole decision making, whenever I wake up in the morning, rather than me just thinking about what I can do for myself, the whole approach, even now, even this video before I record, I'm just thinking about what can I do for you? What can I do for you? Okay, so the whole approach is shifting on what problems are people facing and how can I solve that problem? And it started to create a like a ripple effect. Initially, it was more of the business game. Like I wanted to achieve those numbers, achieve that 3 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees a month, achieve that really fast. But then I observed that over time, that stopped being the focus. I started to see a lot of dynamics in the community that was building. I started to run surveys. I asked people, what do you want? What is stopping you from achieving your goals? And I started to get these patterns of questions that my community wanted. And all of those patterns of inputs that I was getting from the community, which was feeding me, I started to make decisions in my business based on that. So how I can help them get the result faster, how I can simplify this, or this is one area that they need to learn. I have not covered that, so let me start to cover that. So it became into a whole, the dynamics started to change because of the community. Okay. And then what ended up happening is the community started to grow. A lot of successes started to emerge. Like you see, I have my YouTube channel, more than 30 or 40 interviews now of people who have achieved over 3 lakhs. I have more than 100 to 150 interviews. I'm just documenting them one by one right now. And there are a lot of success stories. So the success stories started to emerge. And then rather than again me just being the spotlight of this journey, I've started to empower those people who are successful to also lead the community. So now we have like meetups happening every single day. Like now at 11, like today morning we had a meetup. Like every day there's a meetup happening, and the meetups are not driven forward by me, but driven forward by the members of the community who are following the system, who have the right values, who understand the DNA of the tribe, who understand the same intent of the reason I started this community, and they're able to take it forward. Okay. So yeah, you can hear my second one crying in the background, home-based business, right? So you know what I'm talking about, right? So when you empower the community, when you start to bring out the leaders and start to empower people, that's where you'll see the true essence of community building. Until then, you're always in your own head. You always want to be number one. You always want to be the spotlight. You always want to be the person who's right on the top. You always want to compare yourself with others, thinking that, am I doing better than the other person? That kind of stuff. Like in my mind, that's not even there. Like anybody can do what I'm doing. Okay, anybody can do what I'm doing. And it's an abundant world. There is no competition in this world. In fact, for me, it's all about collaboration. I collaborate with people who are doing similar things and how I can help them grow. So it's a different mindset altogether. And sometimes it's tough to be in that mindset if you're coming from a mode of scarcity. Okay, if you're somebody who feels that this world can have only less, there's only room for one, there's only room for less people, that's where there's a dissonance. That's where there will be the friction, and then you won't reveal your knowledge fully to others because you'll be scared about what other people will do, whether they'll copy your knowledge. I mean, for me, I don't care. For me, it's completely open. If you see my YouTube channel, my entire model is open over there. Yeah. And when people come to my community, they actually learn it, and I ask people to duplicate the same thing. Okay, don't copy it, don't rip it up, but model the same thing. Give it your own unique flavor, and that's what makes it magical. So let's come now to the 6 stages. Now that I've given you like a background and a glimpse on how I was able to grow this community and it's working, I've decoded it into 6 steps. So the first step is you need to have your core. I mean, you need to have a very strong core, and usually your core sprouts from 3 areas. It's either the patterns of your life, your passions, or your pains. Okay, and each one has a unique core. Every human being on this planet is unique. Every person has a unique story, a unique journey. And if you're congruent with your core, then there's a higher chance that you'll be able to connect and build a community on a much more deeper level. And I'll tell you how this works. Like for example, in my case, like I dropped out of college. I was never for the traditional education system. I hated sitting in classrooms, and I wanted to create a different way of education. And through my life, the patterns of my life, I realized that whenever I was learning on my own, when I was pursuing my passions, and whatever pains that I was going through, that there's a lesson seeded, there's a lesson embedded in that. When I was able to identify all those patterns, then I realized that my true core is to change the way people learn and the way people teach. I mean, it was very, very evident in my life, in my whole life patterns is, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is I want to do something. I want to help people become better at learning and teaching. As simple as that. Because as I was growing up, I was not good in learning because I didn't have the right environment to learn. Even though it was a good school, everything else, but the typical confinement kind of learning system did not resonate with me. And so I ended up dropping out of college. I ended up pursuing my passions in sound engineering. Then I ended up doing really well over there because I really loved what I was doing. Then I grew up the ladder and I started to learn from people who have been sharing experiential knowledge, not theoretical knowledge. Theoretical knowledge is good, but when you learn from somebody who's walking the talk, it has a better impact. Okay, I know many, with all due respect, I know many college professors who teach business. Okay, in universities, they don't have a clue about business. I'm sorry to say that. I mean, they've not run a business. They can talk about theory. Yes, the principles may be very good. They teach MBA, Masters of Business Administration. But these MBA students, what ends up happening is they end up going and working in a job. They don't end up setting up their own business. And the best person to learn a business from is from somebody who's actually running a business. How many of you are able to resonate with what I'm saying here? Just type I get it in the comment box. See, there has to be some congruence. Your core has to be congruent with what you're promoting. Your core has to be congruent with what you stand for. So when you look at your life patterns, your passions in life, what pains have you gone through, you'll get an idea of what is your core message. Okay, your core. And from that core, you develop your core message. Like my core message is very singular and it is consistent. I always say I want to help 100,000 people live a lifestyle of freedom. I want to help 100,000 people become the next breed of digital teachers and learners, digital teachers, because we need new digital teachers now. And it's not just about knowledge. It is about how you can connect with an audience, irrespective of where they are, and how you can help them get the result what they want. It is not showcasing how great you are, or how many years of experience you have, or how much money you make, or all that is secondary. Even though I make money, you notice I never put even a single snapshot of my income or none of the stuff. That's because that's not my focus. I'm not here to prove to anyone to saying that I'm rich in this and that. Okay, that's not the focus. The focus is the mission. The mission is how many people, like in your case, how many people can you help achieve the goal? So you get very consistent in your message, and that message will sprout out from your core. And I've not even gone into community building yet. You can only build an effective community if all of these are congruent. Just checking, is this making sense? Just type makes sense in the comment box. Yeah. So first is your core, then you get into your message. Then number 3 is you got to start rallying. Like normally you would see this in the political campaigns, religious campaigns. The rallying happens, the preaching happens. They go out there and they start talking about that message. I've implemented the same 6-step model for business. So even though I'm taking ideas from other segments, you can apply it for your own business. And in my case, my rallying is I do webinars, I do content. Even this is a form of me rallying. Like I'm doing Facebook Live. There are some, at this point when I'm watching live, there are some, 110 plus people watching. Okay. And more people will watch the recording later. And we have people watching on Facebook, on YouTube, in different places. So when you start to go out there and start to talk about your message, start to talk about your intention, start to give people value, that is a form of rallying. You'll start to build more, trust, authority in the marketplace. And especially if it's a brand new audience, very cold audience, they do not know who you are. If they're able to understand through your content what you stand for, then there's a higher chance that they are going to be, progressing into your world. Okay. So that's the 3rd step. The 4th step is where you got to nurture your core tribe. So when I say core tribe is customers, like in my case, like people come into my webinar, they buy my product, they get into my coaching system, and that's where I nurture them more. I nurture them daily. I nurture them weekly, monthly, quarterly. So daily we have meetups, weekly we have masterminds, monthly we have hackathons, quarterly we have an intensive event that happens where I reward and I recognize the people who are getting results. So you have to have a system of nurturing your core tribe or your core customers. When I say core, it means anyone who's transacted with you. Because people who have paid money and come into your world, they are the ones who are more serious. Okay. On the free world, on social media, in the YouTube, everyone can access the unstructured information and content. But once they pay and they come into your world, they become your core tribe member. And your relationship with them needs to begin at the point of sale. I mean, once they purchase, they need to nurture them more. Like I have a social network for our own community. Like it's not Facebook. I've built something just like Facebook, but only for the paid members. So that's the fourth step. The fifth step is you'll start to see the leaders emerge. So leaders will start emerging from here. How do they emerge? It's like this. When your focus is on the community, when your focus is on helping people get the result, there's bound to be results. Like just go and see my YouTube channel, just search me, and you'll see tons of interviews. And every day I keep posting, like every other day, one interview. And they are the leaders. They are the people who have followed the system, who have aligned with my message, with my core, and who are able to resonate with the rallying that I did, and who ended up becoming a core tribe member, and who ended up implementing that knowledge. And they have come to a level where now they've got a result, and they're beginning to lead themselves. So then you got to recognize these leaders. You got to reward these leaders. That's not have to be like big rewards or cash and this and that. Sometimes the reward can simply be like I've given like virtual awards to them. Like we have a Freedom Finisher Award, we have a Hall of Fame Award, and we recognize the effort they put. And people need recognition, and you empower them with the knowledge, with the skills. Now I've empowered many of the people in my community to lead themselves as facilitators who can facilitate and help others in the community, because they have also been through the journey. They know exactly how it works, and they understand the code of honor that we have, where it's not about self-promotion, it's about giving back. Okay, you'll see the leaders emerge, and then the revolution begins. Then it becomes into revolution mode. And I say revolution is the exponential impact will start to be created now. And this is something which you may or may not be able to measure. Like at this point, I'm not able to measure the impact of what I'm doing, because there are at least like 4,000 or 5,000 people in the community taking action. Each of them are building their own mini tribes. They have like 500, some of them have 50 customers, some of them have 100, 200 customers. And those customers of theirs they are getting impacted, and they are impacting others. So I'm not able to measure the impact right now. But then there is a ripple effect that happens. Are all of you now able to see through these 6 steps? Just type crazy in the comment box. Type crazy. You don't know to what extent your ripple can go. All you have to do is focus on your core and your core message and just keep rallying. The others will just follow. You don't have to consciously build this. It'll get built on its own. When I say built on its own, it'll start to evolve, because when this is very strong, when the first 3 are strong, the other 3 will automatically start to evolve. You just need to be open, be flexible, put yourself out of the equation, in the sense that you're not the leader of anything. You're just going to be creating a group of leadership. Like I have a council called the Leadership Council. More than 300 people on that council, and I take advice from them. Okay, because if I'm just thinking from my own head, it's very limited. When you create a mastermind, then it creates a different energy altogether. Okay, so let's come back to this. So here are the 6 steps, just to recap, is you got to build your core, have a core message, start rallying, nurture your core tribe, leaders emerge, and then empower the leaders to drive forward the revolution. Okay, you look at any religious movement, any spiritual movement, any political movement, it has followed the same 6 steps. Now there are 3 lessons that I learned on this journey. Okay, by the way, how many of you have found this whatever I've shared till now very useful? Just type super useful in the comment box. Yeah, type super useful. Now the 3 lessons that I've learned along this journey are this. First is, you have to get your priorities right. And for this, I have to share something which I learned from one of my mentors, Blair Singer. He says that whenever you are building something, where you want to build something truly worthwhile, you have to follow this 3 checkpoint system. And here's the 3 checkpoint system. Mission first, community second, me third. Whenever you're making a decision, if the decision is where the mission is being the priority, you'll never go wrong. Okay, so if mission is first, the second priority is the community, and the third is you. If I swap this, and if you're making a decision saying that, okay, if I have to be benefited first, I'm going to make that decision. Like I have like thousands of people in the community. If I want, I can just keep slamming offers every single day at them and asking them to buy something. But that is not the mission. The mission is bigger than me. The mission should be bigger than you. Your community should be bigger than you. And I know this is something which when you're just starting off, you want to make that money, you want to get that situation set in your own life. Your whole focus is in that mode, and that I know it is a tough situation to be in, but then I'll tell you what, give it a leap of faith and just flip the switch away from you to them. Even if you don't have money, even if you don't have any results, if you don't have anything, if you're starting from the scratch, just flip the switch. And trust me, money will automatically follow. Because people can sense your energies, they can sense what exactly you are. Okay? And let's look at the second point over here. You got to help your community get aligned in values. Values is like, what do people value? Right? You need to align them. And this is what I call as what my mentor has shared, Blair Singer, the same person. He shared something called the code of honor. And in my community, before we start every single meeting, we share the code. We talk about what does this community stand on, what are the value systems of this community, and we share the code of honor. And this code protects us from ourselves. And we're always reminding ourselves that this is the goal, this is the code, these are the values. So when you are building a community which is value centric rather than personality centric, you will see that grow like anything. And you will see the sustainability of that community as compared to a personality driven community. Okay? Some religious movements in the world are all personality driven. Yeah. And once the personality is not there anymore, then the movement or that religious whole movement goes down. Because as long as that personality was there, it was going forward. But when there are some religious movements where after the personality has left this world, the movement has grown much more. Okay? There are some examples of such movements also. So if you look at those kind of movements, and I was studying those kind of movements, the focus was not as much on the personality as much as it was on the value system, as much as it was in the practices, as much as it was on the philosophy. If you had a bulb on moment right now, just type bulb on in the comment box. Yeah, type bulb on. You have to, if you want to build like a long-term sustainable community, you need to start thinking in terms of this, in this way. Okay. And number 3 is, there are 3 pillars of trust or 3 pillars of influence. Like, you can only make people move in a direction if they are able to resonate with these 3 pillars, or if they are able to see these 3 qualities in you. Okay. The first one is authenticity. You need to be authentic, and it's not something like you can be authentic. You either are authentic or you are not authentic. And that is something which is an individual journey. It's an individual thing which only only you can answer for yourself. Authenticity comes when you are dropping the masks and then you have nothing to hide. And when you're open to sharing your message the way that it has to be. And also authenticity also has to do with vulnerability, like being open to sharing your flaws, being open to saying that you're wrong also, and dropping that ego. So authenticity comes there. Presenting information with a strong logic. You got to present information with a strong logic, and because it is not just about being authentic, but people also need to feel the substance with whatever you're sharing. They need to see, like, every time you go out there, you post a video, you post a content, you post anything, it has to have some kind of depth in knowledge, because there are many people doing similar things online these days. Okay. So if you're able to go deep into logical presentation of data, where you're able to cater to the left brain, which is the logical brain. Right brain is the creative brain, which is the heart. All of that comes out there. It's the more of the creative side. And then, of course, empathy is the heart side. Empathy is where, like I mentioned earlier, people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. Where the genuine feeling that you have for people, that you care for people, you want to help them grow, where you're okay with them growing more than you. Some of those subtle things, that's where people can see through you. So the lessons that I learned through this community building process is when you get your priorities right, when you start to align the community in the value system, and when you yourself are working on these 3 pillars of trust on a daily, weekly basis, knowing that you're human, you commit mistakes. All of us are human. Nobody is perfect. Once you are aware of that, then the way that your community will trust you, the way that they will move towards whatever you are, whatever you're propagating, will be on a totally different level. Okay, so I think I've come to the end of this particular segment over here. Okay, how many of you found this particular segment valuable? Just type valuable in the comment box, because this is a deep topic and I've shared whatever I could in a short video of 30 minutes. And if you just hopped into this, if you're watching it live and you just hopped in between, go and rewatch that recording. It's on my fan page, it's on my YouTube channel, and it's inside my group as well. Okay, and if you're not in my community, I would like you to go to this link. I have a special training for you, which is called sids.co. If you want to join my tribe /formula. This is where I've actually helped over 100 people make over $5,000 by applying the same approach over here. Okay, where you're using your knowledge to help people get the result what they want, but you're not doing it in a transactional way. You're doing it in a community approach. You're doing it with a relationship angle to it, with a long-term relationship angle to it. So go to sids.co/formula, and if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, just drop your comment below on what were your key takeaways from this. If you're watching this on my Facebook group, share in the comment below what is your key takeaway. And if you're watching this on my Facebook fan page, please share this video. I would like you to share this on your wall and let somebody else understand the true potential and power of community building. Okay, I covered the essence of the whole aspect of this. The aspect of, here's the topic for today, right? What is the topic? How to build, not an email list, how to build a community that creates an exponential impact in this world. Okay, so I want to be signing off. Take care, God bless, and keep watching out for my future sessions and my future videos. And go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel. More stuff like this coming your way. I have planned out more than 100 different topics like this, which I'm going to be rolling out one by one every day, every other day. Okay, so just stay connected. All this is free information. And if you want to jump into my tribe, I've given that link, sids.co/formula. Watch that video, 30 minutes video, and jump into the bandwagon. All the best. Take care.